I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt. Once again, we're about another Patreon review, this time for Cherry Falls. And it's a film where, first off, thanks go out to I Hate Facebook, a user who... Thank you to everyone who has joined me on Patreon. I appreciate it. If you have it, no worries at all. If anyone ever wants to request stuff, reviews, re-reviews, topics, reactions, it could be either a PayPal request, you just send that directly, that link is down in the info box, or you could join my Patreon, that link is down below as well. Appreciate everyone that has done that, thank you. As long as I stop stuttering my words, it'll like mumble mouth. But Cherry Falls, I know Shout Factory, Stream Factory came out with a Blu-ray a few years ago. This is a movie that I remember seeing back in the day when it debuted on the USA Network. Because it wasn't supposed to happen that way. It was a movie that the writing of the film was supposed to be a lot more comedic, satiric. The director wanted a more serious film. There was other problems happening in production. The film was completed. The MPAA said no multiple times. This is around the time of Columbine, among all that. So a lot of stuff was cut out, violence-wise, nudity-wise. The studio had it, which might have been USA Films. They said, well, we're a newer company. We don't want to release such a controversial film, possible controversial, in one of our first films. So pretty much it got dumped to TV. So it was technically a TV movie. And that's why some people say it's the most expensive TV movie at $14 million. I'm like, oh, I thought that was Theodore Rex. But Cherry Falls is one of those films where I don't hate the film. I don't mind it. There's stuff I like. But I think there's a lot of wasted potential here as well. Now, what do I like about the film? Some of the cast members. Brittany Murphy, may she rest in peace. She's very likable, natural, sexy, but also makes for a good lead character. And her father's played by Michael Biehn. I'm a big Michael Biehn fan. I mean, Aliens is one of my favorite films ever. He does a good job as the sheriff, who has a little bit of darkness in his past. So to me, he was one of the more interesting characters in the film. Candy Clark from the Blob remake plays the mom. Jay Mohr plays this English teacher who's friends with Brittany Murphy's characters. And I thought all of them did a good job acting-wise. The concept is fun. The concept is interesting. The concept being you have a killer that kills people if they're virgins. And so Michael Biehn and the cops find out, so they go to this meeting at school with the other parents, telling them the truth, and you do get some humor because of that. You do get some cleverness because of that idea. Like the parents going, I'm gonna lock my daughter in the basement, and the other guy goes, I wouldn't worry about that. What do you mean about that? And they start fighting. Or when the kids find out, they start telling everybody. You have dialogue like, it's hurricane hormone season. It's a hymen holocaust here. Hail, hail, Virgin High, drop your pants, fuck or die. Again, you get some clever, fun bits like that. Or about how they all are going to participate in this orgy because they don't want to die. And during that party, you have kids that would never get anything in without it, did with pretty girls, or one girl going, you know what, you can have my seat. You know what, I want your CDs, I want your snowboard, okay, unless you did this. With that said, on a side note, a lot of people, myself included, have complained about, in slasher films, you have the teenage high schoolers, but they look like they're 20-some years old. I'm not going to complain about that anymore, because with the summation of, that makes more sense to me. That makes, I think, the viewer a lot less uncomfortable. Just think about it. If in these films, they screw, they show their tits, they do all this, would you really be comfortable for that if they really were teenagers in high school, which means they'd be 16 or 17, and you're watching a 16, 17-year-old titty? No. I'll be more comfortable if it's a 24-year-old titty. Okay, she lies, she says she's 16, but it's a 24-year-old titty, so it's 24 years old, I'm more comfortable with that. Even if it's in the back of my mind, a little microbe, a little spark, a little microchip, a little t-t-t. So I think that's why back in the day, we were more comfortable with it, because deep down in the back of our heads, we know they're older. We know they're 20-some years old. So again, sex and death, like it becomes less creepy. I know that maybe that doesn't make sense to people, but to me, I understand why they cast people in that manner. And you know what, in the long run, is actually for the better. Because while the idea of this is creepy because they're underage kids, the fact they're all 20-some years old, well, you think. But I mean, even with that said, this movie, if it wants to go that route, there's barely any blood. Well, I can't say that. There's a little bit of blood. But a lot of that was cut out. Pretty much all the nudity was cut out. And while I like the ideas behind the film, I like the concept of the film, I like the performances. I mentioned, like Jay Mohr. He's an actor I don't mind. He mainly does comedy. But in him playing sort of nice English teacher was a change of pace for him. You have this backstory where certain kids, years and years ago, when they were in high school, there's this lady who was raped, but no one would believe her, so she ran off and moved somewhere else. So maybe it's her coming back for revenge. Michael Biehn's character may or may not have been involved, which I'll get to that a little bit. That's the stuff I don't mind. The problem is, number one, the movie doesn't know what tone it really wants to go with. It wants to be this Heathers, Scream. Because Scream is serious, but even that seems like they had a more handle on its comedy humor compared to this. But on the flip side, it wants to be this serious, vicious slasher film. And it kind of wasted potential on both sides. Because at times it could be trying to be very funny, and there's a lot of moments that could be even funnier. And there's still some that work, like Michael Biehn asking his daughter, Brittany Murphy, if she's gone all the way. Have you gone further than that? No. Can you go further than you have? That awkward dynamic. But there's so many moments that could have been even funnier, even crazier, especially when you get to the third act. And so a lot of that comedy just cut out, so that makes the film weakened, in my opinion. Because while I get that the director wants to make this more vicious, bloodier, serious film, it got neutered. It got its entire balls cut off. Not just one, both of them. You hear that tss, that's the fucking burn from being neutered and don't bleed out. But it was bleeding out a bit. Because there are so many times where you could tell stuff is censored. In the beginning of the film, this couple's in a car, killer attacks them. There's a shot where a guy's walking towards his girl crawling. The killer comes. I can guarantee you there's a shot where the knife went through his neck and you saw it. But the way it's edited, you can tell it's censored. When the whole finale is supposed to be a lot bloodier, filled with nudity, all that shit was cut out. So then what you're left is just spoiler alert, 1, 2, 3. The killer is Jay Mohr, wearing a fucking wig, as if he's Michael, well, I don't want to spoil that either. There's been other movies where a person dresses like a girl even though it's a guy. There's other movies that have done that. I don't want to say what they were, but maybe you haven't seen them, so I'd be spoiling them. When he's killing all these kids, he's just doing this. And he sees some little blood, and you don't see anything. Kids is all cut out. Even the death of the killer is censored. He falls, but you don't see him get impaled. A cop comes and shoots him, but it's edited so herky-jerky that you don't see the bullet hits. You don't see anything. So it becomes piss poorly edited, not because the editor did a bad job, but because all the shit got cut out. Because not only was it cut for MPAA, but then this shit had to be on the USA network, so even though it's theatrical form, it just... So that's where the director, in a way, fucked up. Like, okay, if the director had carte blanche and the MPAA didn't fuck with it and there was a full uncut version, maybe I would be singing a different tune. But maybe if you went with the writer's choice of being more of comedic, more satiric, which with this idea, there's a lot of nuggets you could mine to make this, to me, a much funnier, effective movie. In fact, the writer, he wanted the whole orgy to be under this white sheet. And so when the killer comes in, you just see specks of red blasting on, and the whole white sheet gets bloodier and bloodier and bloodier. Now, granted, party's like, well, I want to see the kills. But in retrospect, you don't even get to see the kills. But at least that would be an interesting moment. Maybe, maybe people call it an artful shot. But then, because the director wanted to make a more serious film, but all the serious stuff he wanted to do got all cut out. All the nudity got cut out. Pretty much all the death scenes, cut, censored. So you get a serious slasher film, well, all the guts are taken out. At least with the writer, okay, it's not that bloody, but at least I'm enjoying a lot of the comedy or the satire. Hell, one of the reasons I love April Fool's Day, there's really no gore in that. The April Fool's Day from 1986, but I really enjoy the humor, I really enjoy the characters, as well as the mystery. And it's like, on purpose, they knew this was not a blood fest. It couldn't be because of the twist. But they knew that, so they concentrated more on the characters, likable characters, the humor. Here, Brittany Murphy's likable. His boyfriend's a bit of a douche who can't make up his fucking mind. That he wants to get laid. That he doesn't want to get laid. This like his boyfriend, the boyfriend here I didn't give much of a shit about. Michael Biehn, his tier was interesting, but even they dropped the ball on that because the scenes of Michael Biehn I think worked well. And when you get the flashback where what happened was, he was drunk with his buddies. He was fucking passed out. Barely conscious. The other kids raped her. They had to pick him up, drape him over, and Even though he says, I knew what I was doing, I knew what I was doing, you're a passed out drunk, man. You're like this, you can barely move, you can barely do anything. Now yes, you made the mistake of not telling anybody afterward. That's your big flaw. That's your cross to bear. But he feels sorry about this. He's not being condescending or out of character. Like all of a sudden going, you know what, your mom deserved it and all that. It didn't go off tangent of that. And again, he was fucking passed out. The reason I harp on that is I think there you have a little bit of leniency to give a redemption story where the final bit is not the girl and her stupid fucking boyfriend. It's a father and daughter battling this killer. And Michael Biehn's been hurt or he's been tortured so he can barely move, but he's trying to help his daughter. And he's doing what he can to help his daughter to make up for the sins of the past. And then maybe at the end you can have some kind of big dramatic moment after the killer's been killed and Michael Biehn's like, I'm going to turn myself in. And then either he turns himself in, I'll face the consequences, or the daughter goes, no, you want to make things right, this is what you do, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe the I don't know, I think there's other ways you could have done that. Instead, Michael Biehn gets killed by an axe off screen. Maybe also because I like Michael Biehn, so that when I first saw it, that pissed me off as well. Because like he's my favorite part of the movie. Oh, he got killed. Fuck this. That's kind of my reaction when I first saw this. Nowadays, I'm like, I think there's a lot of potential you could mine from that. It's just wasted. And like the orgy scene in the finale is kind of lame. Very tame. The orgy, you want to be this serious R-rated bloody film, but you don't see anything because they all got cut out. Friday the 13th Part The New Blood. That's another film I enjoy. And you go, well, Matt, that's a very dry, cut apart film. But that's a film that seemed like it was more consistent in its tone. Plus, let's face it, Jason Voorhees, with the way Kane Hodder looks in that, is much cooler than Jay Mohr in a wig. Plus, I have an uncut version of Friday the 13th Part 7. I could watch that anytime I want, because years ago someone edited the deleted scenes to the film, made it look like a VHS tape, so it was cool. I downloaded it, now you can't find it anywhere, and I try to upload it and it gets blocked anytime, so I can't show it to anybody. So go figure. We're not going to release it, but we're going to block it. But you know, studios are geniuses. And the director says the uncut version is out there because studios don't throw stuff away. I'm like, well, that's what people say about the Cobra Stallone uncut version. You'll never see that. Cliffhanger or Predator 2 NC-17 versions. You'll never see. Well, Cliffhanger, it's so broken apart you can't tell shit. Predator 2, you'll never see that uncut version. Like a lot of these uncut versions you will never see. Just how it is. A lot of studios don't give a fuck. And if it's somewhere, it's nonchalantly probably been thrown away and the people didn't even realize what it was. So again, when you look at, and also with the finale, it doesn't even make sense with the motive of the killer. Well, I said with wasted potential. The motive of the killer is he will only kill virgins. So why is he killing people at this fucking orgy if they're not being virgins anymore? So he defeated his own fucking purpose of the premise. It defeats kind of the premise of the story. He doesn't even follow his own rules. And with that you don't see much, but he doesn't even follow his own rules. So then that hurts the fun concept, the premise. How much more fun would it be that this guy is so psychologically damaged that he only wants to kill virgins? But fuck, I can't kill them. I can't kill them because they're fucking. I can't kill them because you fucked. Did you fuck? Did you fuck? God damn it, I can't kill you. Like, maybe I could create some weird funny stuff. And why would the killer do that? Because the killer's crazy. He's a killer, first off. Number two, he's wearing a goddamn wig and women's clothes because of his mother. Because if you just wear women's clothes and that's your kink and you're not hurting anybody, that's fine. But if you wear women's clothes because you think of your mother who abused you and you want to kill virgins, you're fucking crazy. Insane, as in you don't think naturally and normal. But he barely even follows his own fucking rules. Plus, how the hell does he know someone's a virgin? They never really explain that. Yeah, he's an English teacher by day. Is he fucking psychic by night? And he knows he's psychic. I can know if you fucked or not. How does he know? Is he just guessing? Or assuming shit? Maybe he killed someone. Well, technically she wasn't a virgin because she fucked someone in the bathroom without you knowing 3 days before. Whoops. So that's what I mean. You could, if you really want to be satirical and do a twist on the slasher genre, you could really get into that. Like maybe there is some weird genius to his madness of he has like a like you find out he has some kind of graph. Did it? Didn't do it? Just did a blowjob. Does that count? Like that's what I mean. You could really go more into the satirical nature of it. I did with the whole orgy thing. Like he's trying to find who he could kill. He's trying to follow his rules. I think you could create some more comedy with that. And again, if the director don't want that and he wants more serious, the MPAA fucked you over. Just took all your shit away. So it was kind of pointless doing that. But are you sure this isn't a rant? It's not a rant. It's just I do think there's a lot of wasted potential here. But what's there is it still has a very creative idea that can go quite a bit away with how many slasher films there are out there. My body got excited thinking of slasher films, I guess, like perked up. When you get a clever concept like that for a slasher film, it can go a long way because of how many slasher films are just the same old. And then with capable cast members. Like, it was cool to have Michael Biehn in this and Candy Clark. I love her in the Blob remake as the mom who's like a cool mom who smokes and says, hey, you know, if you wait a little bit, sleep by your dad. Maybe doing like a couple minutes. Like, she's a cool mom. And, you know, Brittany Murphy, may she rest in peace, she does a really good job playing a likable character. At times very sexy, you know, trying to get her, I guess, boyfriend to bite her toes. Very beautiful lady, talented actress. And then Jay Mohr, spoiler, when he's the killer, I mean, he's going at it with at least a little bit of gusto. Some people might find it laughable and ridiculous, but some people, considering the movie's supposed to have some type of satirical nature, but yeah, it needed to pick one and stick with it. And in my opinion, the more interesting part would have been the more satirical nature of it all. And even with the comedy elements, again, that worked in Scream, but even Scream had a bit of the juggler more than this movie. But again, bad timing because of the Columbine, so it all got taken out. I mean, I didn't get mad. I mean, well, I got mad a couple times watching it, but I mean, I don't hate the film. It's decent. I just don't love it as much as the cult audience has built it up. I don't think it's as hilarious as some of the critics make it out to be. Like, there's certain posters, and it's like 18 fucking critics going, it's the funniest movie, and I'm like, well, I don't think it's that fucking hilarious. There's some funny bits in it, but to me, it's an okay, decent film that had potential to be a great film. The fact it doesn't reach that makes it a little bit infuriating. I could see it there, it just didn't quite reach it. So it's just okay. I doubt I would ever see the film again. I'm not going to pick up the Blu-ray because I'm not paying... How much are Scream Factory Blu-rays now? $40? No, not really. Like $30? Even if it's 20, it's okay, but I don't really feel the need to pick it up. Because I really don't see myself watching this film again. Again, it's okay, but it just... decent, but some wasted potential there. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.